There are a number of factors involved, but today in particular, we're standing in front of a Revenue Canada office to point out the fact that Canada continues to fund the genocide happening in Gaza and now in the West Bank of Palestine, in the occupied territories. There are a number of charitable, so-called charitable organizations collecting money, supposedly to aid the injured or whatever, but those funds are getting funneled directly into the Israeli occupation forces. There are other organizations besides Revenue Canada that are sending money from Canada to the occupying forces in Israel and Palestine. Recently, go ahead.
You mean particularly CRA, from taking funds from the charity, they are going to be used for IDS, Israeli.
Yes. Now, Revenue Canada has recently removed the charitable status from at least 2 organizations for that very reason. Although it took more than a year for them to decide to do that, we're hoping to see that happen even more. And in general, we don't want our tax dollars going through Revenue Canada to the federal government to be sending aids to Israel.
Are you with the CRA? No?
How do you see the Canada role? So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was in Newfoundland and Labrador yesterday, and he mentioned that it means Israel has the right to defend itself, and also Canada is playing its role calling a ceasefire, you know.
Yeah, and how much has that gotten us? Not a thing. Words are cheap. He hasn't done anything. And as far as Israel having a right to defend itself, the Geneva Conventions say otherwise. Israel has a right to defend itself against outside attackers. If other countries, other armies were to attack Israel, they definitely, like any nation, would have a right to defend themselves. The Geneva Conventions explicitly say that they do not have a right to use arms against people that they are occupying, which they are. On the other hand, the occupied, in this case the Palestinians and their political and armed wings of Hamas, do have an explicit right to use armed resistance against the occupiers. So to say Israel has a right to defend itself against Palestine is a lie. It is not true. They have no such right.
So how do you take Hamas killed 1,200
just over 1,100 to be accurate.
Yeah,
but okay, couple of things on that. A number of those people were killed by Israeli fire, which even Israel has admitted. We have film of Israeli helicopters firing at a kibbutz and firing at randomly at people running at that rock concert. Hamas is a resistance organization. It has a political arm and an armed wing. Like the African National Congress resisting against apartheid in South Africa. Like the Irish Republican Army resisting British occupation in Ireland. They're very, very similar circumstances. All of those people were called terrorists. Terrorist is a label that the occupiers use to people who resist their rule. That's all a terrorist is, as far as I'm concerned. They all use the same kind of tactics. Israel is a far bigger terrorist than Hamas could ever hope to be.
Yeah. And so how do you see those hostages are held by Hamas? So do you call for a release of those hostages?
I didn't hear all. I know you mentioned the hostages.
Hamas held now around just 100 are remaining. So would you call for the release of those hostages?
Hamas took hostages in the vain hope that Israel would engage in exchange of the thousands, some of the thousands of Palestinians held without charges in what's known as administrative detention, also illegal under international humanitarian law. Israel has no desire. They don't want, the hostages are a minor concern for Netanyahu. Hamas has offered on at least 3 occasions, including one immediately after October 7th, to return hostages in exchange for a ceasefire and an end to assault on Gaza. That's not what Israel wants. They want all of that land. And they've gone beyond Gaza now because they've started assaults in the West Bank. Not just settlers armed by the government, but actual IOF troops going into the West Bank and burning villages. I don't know what else I can say.
In those like Palestinian support that Israel like supporting Palestine like Israel should withdraw, from Gaza, and the rights of Palestinian people should be upheld, and Israel should be accountable for killing over like 50,000 Palestinians. So some folks are blaming a protester like you who are being funded from terrorist
I'm
groups
being
like
funded by
Hamas
nobody.
or other like.
We're being funded by nobody.
We don't have any, as organizations, we don't have any funding.
It just hurts me.
That's a distraction.
Yeah, it hurts.
It
my
means
heart.
nothing.
We're Canadians that are doing well enough. We can eat, and we have a place to sleep, and we want other people to live in Palestine. 2 million people are threatened. That's where we're at.
And as many as, perhaps as many as 200,000 are dead as a result of Israel's actions.
And what do you call to Canada or other like UN and other organizations such as Canada, Venezuela, like US, like which is most supporting Israel?
Ideally, I would like to see Israel pull back, remove their illegal, definitely illegal settlements in the West Bank, pay to rebuild Gaza since they destroyed it, and remove their occupying forces from surrounding Gaza.
Do you have a message to Canada or the US or other world or other Canadian folks?
Stop funding genocide.
After our baby wishes to get rid of it. Oh no, I'm saying, okay, there. That's